All right, replay time. So, we're looking at Ogre, Magi, Magi. So Mars. I don't know, Mars and Zeus. It's kind of hard to predict what the lane is, which happens. What's your thought process on this Quelling Blade? Because it's kind of useful against Mars, but I don't know if you need it because you're Ogre, so you're like not as scared. I like the Observer Ward. See where you end up placing it. You like to cut down trees. I love it. How come we're like following? I guess it's normal. Oh, you know, this is so... Do you play always centered on your camera, always centered on the hero? If that's how you prefer to play it, I won't stop you. It is a little hard though, because if you want to, like, if you want to look around and stuff,
I don't think
helpful
so.
sometimes. Oh, there you go. You like moved it down. Gotcha. Oh no, she got it. Yeah, I was about to say I could tell that she was gonna loop around, but it's fine if it happens. Especially if you get in like such good damage that, like if I had the choice between a kill or a rune, I would go for the kill. In this case, I could tell that it wasn't quite going to be a kill, so I would go for the rune. But I don't mind the attempt. All right, threw out 2 ignites. Gonna use the clarity. Good so far. Yeah, so just at the end of the day, I'll just say I don't think you need the Quelling Blade in this lane, but it's also kind of fun, so, you know. If you didn't get this Quelling Blade, I'd probably just go for, like, another Mango, maybe a Sentry. All right, Wind Ranger actually just denied herself. I think you want your ward further out. So, like, well, this is, like, okay. But I do think it's a little more useful if it's like slightly further down. That way you can see a bit more like down here, which I think is pretty useful. Right here, especially because you have the Quelling Blade, you can just like cut this chunk of trees and then you're not so scared about like what's over here. So I think this could be a little further down. And then what I want to say is that because she just killed herself to Roshan, you know you're by yourself here. And so I'd spend a lot of time just chasing him around because you're safe for a little bit here. So actually, let's just play through here. So like right now, I would just be like, I would literally just run at him because he can't. Okay, just don't let him like spear you under the tower by accident, and don't aggro the creeps. But until you see creeps, you can just run at this guy. He's kind of just backing off on his own anyways. But if he like played up here, then I would just be running at him. Yeah, like right now, I'd just run at him. Wait till you're a little closer to use this spell. So, so the slow is good so that you get to hit him. But if you cast it from too far away, there's no guarantee you get to hit him. So what you do, just run at the guy first. Literally, so instead of casting, you just keep walking at him. If he lets you get close to him, then you can cast Ignite, and then you hit him and chase him for the duration of Ignite. If he backs away, then you just, okay, job done. Like, you chased him off, and you can just chill a little bit, maybe go do a pull, or, like, go look for him in the trees if you want to do that as well. But try to wait till you're actually next to him, or pretty close, to use Ignite. That way you actually get to, like, use the slow. Because otherwise, like, look, you just, you cast it, and you get a little bit of damage, but it's not like, you know, it's not incredible considering you're a tiny mana pool. So, yeah, wait till you're a little closer, then use it. And then you'll be able to harass better with that. Or, like, if Jug was chasing him, then you can use the Ignite to slow him from afar. That's also an option. But, like, in terms of your own harassment, you want to be closer. All right, Jug kill. Ah! Oh, you get the range creep in the end. Okay, yeah, misclick. I'm not gonna. You knew you had the right idea. It happens. I mess it up sometimes too. I like the idea to use a spell to try to get it. The downside being because it has a slow, it's going to make it hard to pull. But yeah, you had the right idea to pull. We're not going to worry about it. Yeah, be a little conservative with the Ignite use because your mana pool is so tiny and Ignite's a fairly expensive spell. So like 1 mango isn't even enough to use Ignite. You do want to get like max value out of it. So that's why it's like, yeah, you want to be close. You want to use it. And that way you get the right click damage in as well. Yeah, this is like casual harass. This is the kind of harass you can do if you are like a disruptor or a lich. But even then, they want to still like try to get some right clicks in. And they can do it because they have they have a better mana pool than you do. But you literally have 2 spell casts on Ogre. So you got to make sure when you use it, you're getting a lot out of it. Okay, looks like you're keeping an eye on the lane. I think that's good. This would actually be, I don't know if you saw the video today, but this is where, because you have so much time, this could be a chance where you like Quelling Blade this tree, Quelling Blade some of these, pull through, and then go stack. This pull is bad. Let's see it. Yeah, there is a wave here and another wave coming. Oops. Okay, they're not going to chase you. I was a little worried about that. That's not the worst, to be honest. Especially because I think for your bracket, I think people are pretty scared to chase under the tower, to be honest. The tower is just like a no-go zone. It doesn't matter how many creeps you have. You're just like, I'm not going into that tower. That's bad. And because Jug has 2 Wraith Bands at this point, so he's got a lot of armor. This guy skipped Healing Ward, which isn't the best. But Juggernaut, if he had Healing Ward, he can like heal up afterwards. So as long as they don't dive your Juggernaut, this kind of pull is like kind of okay. I don't hate it. But yeah, if you really wanted to pull there, a half pull would be good. But I also feel like you didn't need to pull there. You could just let the creep wave go through, and then you'll have 4 creeps fighting 8 creeps, and it'd be fine, and then you could like stack. But you already identified that too in your message, so I think that's good. You already knew like that's not the most optimal pull. Let's see. For you actually have really high health regen on Ogre. So you're at 6.9 under the tower. So right now you'd be at 5.9 usually. And if you compare it to like Wind Ranger, she's at like 3.5. Or Mars. Oh, he's got a Tango. Who else can we check? Zeus, 3.6. Ogre is just known for like high base regen. So the Ring of Regen is usually not quite necessary, and if you want to go for Tranquils, it's usually the last thing you'll buy. So usually getting like Boots of Speed or the Windlace first, or maybe even a Magic Stick in this lane, because Mars casts a decent amount of spells. Wind Ranger sort of does too. You could go for Raindrops to try to address some of your mana issues, and they won't cancel it too quickly. I like those options a bit, but you don't really need more health, especially because you still have 3 Tangos. Why can't I close? There we go. Yeah, so you see, you're kind of just like casting spells sometimes and not quite getting anything out of it. And because of that, you're now at like very low mana. And funny enough, you're now playing, you know, because you've realized like, oh, I can't cast any spells. Now I gotta like walk up and harass. Like that's what you can do even with mana. And then if they commit and they stay, then you use the spells. It's all good. When I started Dota, I did that too. My very first Dota game, I was playing, my friend was like, hey, you should try Dota. This was like years ago. I think I was in high school. And I was like, okay, I'll try it out. And when I tried League of Legends, oh, it looks like you're about to get killed. Nice. When I tried League of Legends, I tried Drow. She's like a frost archer, right? Or not Drow. Who's the... Drow is what the equivalent is in Dota. What is it, like Ashe? Yeah, Ashe. So I was playing Dota, I was trying it out, and I was like, oh, I should try some Frost Hero. Picked Crystal Maiden. used a spell, didn't have enough mana to cast another spell. And I was like, man, this game sucks. But yeah, mana management is really hard when you start Dota. So don't blame yourself too much. But yeah, if you can conserve your spell usage a little bit, that'll be a big step forward. And you knew to go to the runes, but you were a little late on it. I would actually say, sorry, I was telling a story. Let's go back. Let's go back to when you killed this Mars. I went too far. Now I jumped too far. Okay, so as soon as you kill the Mars, you should ask yourself, like, how can I make the most out of this? So, like, kill the Mars right here. 444. You could probably stack this hard camp, or if you had move speed, you might be able to make it to that small camp. I don't think you can this time. Would you even want to stack the hard camp this game? The lane's going okay, so you could if you really wanted to, but you don't have to. So in this case, maybe you actually don't need to do anything, but I want to mention it just to help like build that idea. You probably could have at least gone for the 5-minute runes, because it's just Wind Ranger, and Wind Ranger by herself isn't going to kill you, because you're... Yeah, you've got such good health regen and armor. Okay, this is actually working out pretty well. You're getting the creeps killed off, so now the catapults won't... I don't know if it was a conscious decision or not, but this is the catapult wave, and I would have been a little worried if you did a pull, because then your tower would have taken a lot of damage. So it's kind of good what happened there, that they just like hit each other instead. Gandalf Hero, thank you for the follow. Welcome. I was feeding all my... I was playing that hero today. I was just losing them all the games. Whenever you're at full health, consider just like... Talon is unconscious. We're gonna get there. We're gonna make it conscious. When you're sitting at full health, consider walking in, hitting a couple times, take some damage, like, you know, don't kill yourself, of course, but like get to like 3/4 health. You know, I'd feel still pretty safe there. But you trade some right click hits, and then because you have this ring of regen, you have good natural regen, then you relax a little bit, heal up, repeat. And that way you're like kind of doing something, and while you're kind of chill, relax period, you could go do something like pulling, for example. By the way, you ended up warding here, but the small camp's blocked. I don't know if you realize that. So that sentry probably should have been used for that. But I like that you sentryed before you warded. I think you did anyway. At the least you have both. The next step is to put, if you didn't, put the sentry first, then put the wards. Ooh. I bet this guy's... Yeah. If you play with any friends, highly recommend that 1 point in the crit is honestly enough. The healing ward is so good. So good. This guy could keep playing the game if he had a point in healing ward. Now you get to last hit instead. Yeah, see, this is where it's good to use spells. Oh, that's unlucky bounces. But yeah, you see how it's like, oh, now is the time to use a spell, so that's pretty good. No, Quap's actually going. I don't know if you realize that. You don't even have any mana to contribute, but just like keeping vision can be pretty good too. It's around this time where I feel like... Well, he did just use his ult, so now he's a little more vulnerable. But around now, it's like kind of okay to leave him alone. You could consider leaving the lane at this point a bit. Walking away so that when Jug does need you, you just TP back. I'd probably just keep running there. Right, yeah, I would just like get yourself under the tower. Or if you see her start channeling, try to like sidestep a bit. Thinking about where to go. I'll buy in the tome. I would walk. Yeah, nice. Oh, you ended up TPing anyways. Were you guys thinking about going in on him? Because otherwise, I think you can just walk there. Unless Jug was like, I want to fight right now. Then I think it's okay to make your way over. One thing to... actually, let's... yeah, right there. If you... have him get out here. Okay. So this tower sees this. So if you want to ward on this cliff, you either have to go around this tree, like so, or from here to here. But the path you walk, yeah, through this tree or through this left side, you'll get spotted by the tower. Now, of course, they might miss you, but, you know, there's a chance. And then if you, like, walk back, it's kind of, you know, even if they didn't click your inventory, if you see Ogre walk this way and then walk out, you know, what was he doing? It wasn't just for fun. He's probably warding up here. So if you want to ward like that, or if you want to ward that spot, which I think is fine, you just have to keep in mind your position. That's so funny. Was that sentry in the outpost range the whole time? That tells me you weren't looking for the small pulls. Because I was gonna say, it seems like there were definitely times for you to do a few more pulls. There are times where you kind of just like standing in the lane a little bit. Oh, is he gonna get the drow? Run her down. Okay, that's kind of worth it. I don't know why she's up here. It's kind of weird. You're gonna walk, but then thought you could get Mars. Okay, as long as you had a reason to try to TP, then I think it's okay. Like, for example, here, you just TP'd, but, like, what's the reason? Maybe you were thinking about trying to do a pull, but that's not really necessary at this point. So instead of that, I probably would have walked bottom. I think Juggernaut's fine on his own right now, and I only need to respond if he needs help, and I would TP up. But otherwise, I would, like, walk mid or walk bottom. Something you can consider. I don't know if people know to do this, so your mileage may vary on this. But you can TP mid to fill their bottle. That can be worth a teleport. Especially if your mid is doing well. But if you're new to the game, and I don't know if like everyone's aware of what the bottle refill and everything is, it can be a little bit of waste of your time if you're like, if you have to explain, like, I'm going to TP mid, hand me your bottle, I'll use it on you, I'll pass it back, and they're like, it's my bottle, I'm not giving it to you. You're like, oh god. So if they don't know what it is, you can just let them, like, you don't have to do it. And I wouldn't waste time trying, but it is something you can consider. But otherwise, I think it's pretty good to just walk. Oh, Hakuo, what's up? Oh, you also submitted a replay recently too. We're probably just doing this one today though, but we'll cover the others soon. Die for the Mars. A little bold. Looks like it's working. Famous last words. Yeah, it's a little unnecessary to go that hard for the Mars. You could just not. So, like, where'd you... this is quite a long dive. So, when you guys decided to go... So, this point's okay. If Jug was going to use his ult, I think... Oh, it's because he didn't have it yet. Yeah, I think, like, once he's under the tower like this and you don't have Jug ult, I'm probably just saying, like, just push it in. You know, push these creeps in, and if he defends, then you can go on him. But this attempt without any creeps means you guys tank a lot of the tower. You are pretty tanky, all things considered. But there's just, you know, no real need to risk it. And because the creeps come in, the Jug ult then misses completely. But if you just, like, push the wave in, then the wave kills the other wave, and then you're good to go. Just just following the Jug. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you're... Having said that, if your Jug goes in, you should go in as well. So if your Jug just went in, go. But if there was like any level of communication, if you have the chance to say like, I don't think we should do this. If he still goes, then you go. But if you can convince him not to go, then, I would do that. Thanks for watching on YouTube. I appreciate it. Oops, a bit of a... There's a lot of enemy heroes here. What are they doing here? Why are there so many? Alright, so you're going on the Zeus. The Ricky jumped you. Fair enough. Alright. So you mentioned this, how you're kind of poor. And your net worth... Let's check it out real quick. Yeah, this net worth is a little low. So one, not TPing everywhere will save you some money. Teleports are pretty expensive. Well, it's gone. The price has changed in the past. 90 right now is like, it's a decent amount. That's 1 minute worth of passive gold, a little less. So if you are always using your TP to go out to the lanes, then you're just burning money. So whenever you can walk. And you literally save money walking. It's just like, it's like real life. If you if you walk to places, you save a bit of money. Dota's no different. So that's one. Then two, looking to do a few more pulls or stacks will also get you a little bit of money. And then because you've died a couple times, that's also hurt you a little bit, where you'll lose a little bit of money. But then because you're dead, you can't do anything to get money. So sometimes to get money, just sitting in a lane, getting some of these last hits, when your mid's roaming around, for example, that's a way to get some money. I missed when you bought this. I think you've had it for a little bit, though. Oh, you didn't know you got stack gold? Yeah, another mechanic, not really described anywhere. This ward, I feel that you have this... How long is this? I can't see it. I can't tell how long that ward had left, but because that ward exists, I wouldn't... You could use this one, but I think it's a little overlappy. Okay, you do stack the Ancients, nice. So like right now, creeps are dying in the mid lane, so you could be there just getting a bit of gold. A bit tough. Yeah, I wouldn't, if you can start when she's up there, yeah, I think it's okay. Once it gets further down, it's a little scary. Also, think about, since you're playing against Ricky, and Ricky could be invis, so you're a little scared of that. If you think about, I want to push this lane, so I'm scared of Ricky jumping on us. If you're in this lane, that means you need the sentry here. And if you're pushing this tower, the most likely spot you'll need it is around here, the sentry here. The sentry here is kind of like, you'll see Ricky if he comes this way, but what if he just... The most natural way for him to go to defend this tower is to be at the tower. So yeah. But I also don't mind this because this is kind of a common warding spot, and especially if you just lost a fight here, you might think they had wards or something. So I don't hate it. But it does mean, like, if you want to push against the Ricky, you're going to need another sentry. So if you only have one, then I tend to place it where I need it to push. Or I buy multiples so I can check both. You guys are looking for someone. This, by the way, is not a very good item for you. You should give this to your carry. It's a super good carry item. Man, they're just giving you all of them. What the heck? The tree's okay if no one else needs the tree. But the possessed mask, for sure, that should go on. I would give it to Juggernaut this game. Some dives happening. Jug actually got the top tower in the end. Oh, Philosopher's Stone, pretty good on you. I wouldn't put this here. It's not very worth it. You see, like, just about half the sentry is overlapping with the tower. That's, like, not so great. I'd push it, like... If you really want it for this area, I'd push it to about, like, here. Because then the top just, like, meets the tower a little bit. Or I would save it for down here, like we talked about. Because I don't feel... you don't really need it here. Especially because you have... is this your sentry? Yeah, especially because you have a sentry here. I feel like this is... no need. Let's see. A really good spot for this too, by the way. Instead of out here. So this is like generally the right spot. But if you put it in here, like right where my mouse is, this is pretty good. One, you just see a little further down. For example, Ricky could TP here, walk out up to here, and then jump someone before you see him. Or he could walk out this way and happen to then jump someone here. I don't know. But you miss him a little bit. So if you push this down a little further, then you cover this whole area, and that way you'll see him like walk out immediately. And there's like no chance of him slipping through the sides. And you'll still cover this whole pathway as well. You can see like if you move this down, it still covers all the way here. Plus, if they are looking for your sentries, like they're trying to deward here and they put a sentry here, there's a chance they don't see your sentry because it's blocked by the trees, and maybe you deward theirs before they get a chance to see yours. So, yeah. In the trees. Definitely get your boots as soon as you can. Ogre is a hero, by the way, where I think it's okay to get arcanes if you want them. He has a lot of HP regen on his own, so he doesn't quite need the tranquils. I still think tranquils are okay on Ogre, but I'll give you the option. Tower taken. That's definitely something that can happen sooner, but I think it's still all right. That you got to get it eventually. Oh yeah, be careful. If she has the bottle, you don't want to grab the runes. Let them ask your mid laner or check, if they have a bottle and then if they want the runes. They get all mad if you take their runes. And a little rightfully so, it is for them. It helps their game a lot. Funny enough, this one's more okay. This sentry here is all right because it's just how the mid lane gets played. It's not such a big deal that it overlaps. But of course, if you want to optimize it a little bit, then putting it at this corner or this corner gives you a little less overlap and is more likely to see something useful. But then again, just like pushing it further to the side, like over here in the river on their half, this side is generally a little better for coverage. Downside being that don't forget they have a Zeus. So if Zeus is using Bolt in the lane to like secure last hit, he might just see your sentries. So sometimes it is good to put him a bit to the side. So like for example, I like this sentry a lot, but it's a little obvious what you're doing. They can see you walk right over here. So even if you don't put an observer, they're going to check. Like Zeus is going to think you put something here. He's going to bolt. He's only going to find a sentry, but still he's going to find a sentry. So it's better to wait till your like lane is pushed up. Unless you have a very specific reason to need to place this now. Oops. Go back to you. And then I would actually just stay mid with them. Oh, you're still in the area, but... Oh, get out! Oh, man! Nice! Get it! Usually it's a little risky to sit under the tower and take it, but it is kind of... If you guys had gotten it, I would have been okay with it. He did rotate, it's unfortunate. I don't hate the idea, though, to try to get the tower like that. If you guys had just hit the tower, until they fortified, unfortunately. But at least you, like, force the fortification, and then maybe you, like, walk away. Time to deal. Oh, Sentry gonna get that kill on Ricky? Maybe? Oh! Nice. What's happening right now? Some inventory management. Trying to decide what to buy. Can't see it though. All right, and then you're walking out. Okay. Yeah, as you play more, the inventory management, picking the items will come faster, and then you won't have to sit in base too long deciding. Because definitely you don't want to... You want to spend as little time just sitting there, right? But since you're new to the game, it's absolutely acceptable and understandable if it takes you a moment to figure out what you want to buy or like where stuff is, stuff like that. Oops. It kind of worked out. I will say, I don't quite think you need this ward at this point. It's like all right, but funny enough, this spot feels better when they have a tower here because then they're more likely to play in this area. Once it's gone, I don't know. There's nothing really here that this ward, like, it sort of sees some people go through, but I don't think it's so critical. I would prefer a ward like in this part of their jungle a lot more, or maybe the other jungle, you know. But this is kind of like, especially with both these towers gone, people will walk through here, and that's why I don't want to say it's a bad ward, but no one's going to farm under this ward. They're only going to pass through it. That puts a little more value to wards like over here, because not only will people pass through it, but then you might see them farming, and then you have a chance to like jump them. But here, like, it's not, people just aren't seen as much unless they have a tower here, and then it's like because they're there to defend the tower, and then that's pretty good. But that's why the longer the game goes, and once these towers fall, I don't really recommend that spot too much. If you accidentally dust it, it's all good. Going for an Aether Lens. If you want Tranquils and still want an Aether Lens, it's fine. You don't have to go Arcanes into Tranquils. Or sorry, Arcanes into Aether Lens. But it is a generally nice efficiency thing if you can get away with it. TPing to the fight. Alright, push! Push, 3 dead. Right now, for you, you can either ward in this time or just push with them. Either one's okay. I'm fine with this. I think both would have been okay, but Ogre has mana pool issues. Actually, because you have this Philosopher's Stone with mana, I'd probably grab the Void Stone first. But if you didn't have a Philosopher's Stone, I would be okay with an energy booster first, just because your mana pool's so bad. Though even then, I might still do the Void Stone first in general. She's got the shard. It's a cool sound effect. I like it. Mars is here. Maybe you guys can get him. Alright, you get the wards. Nice. Yeah, once it looked obvious a bit that he kind of knew you were there, it's a good D-ward. Be a little careful walking through here. It's a little scary in general, unless your team's here or you're like super ahead. In this case, it looks fine. It looks like they're actually jumping your carry over here. TPing in. Your team's kind of rocking it, actually. Bloodlust. Yeah, that's good. Nice, another tower. You're pretty close to getting the Aether Lens recipe anyways, but I would recommend swapping. Unless you plan to smoke soon, it doesn't really do anything for you. So at that point, you can swap the Void Stone in. Oh, this Omni Knight saving you. What a bro. get the Ricky? Close. Okay, that's worth it. Yeah, that kind of death is fine for an Ogre. Ideally, Bloodlust. You did Bloodlust the Quap, and Jug wasn't there yet. But after you Bloodlust your carry, of course it's nice to get your other spells out, but if you die and they use a big spell on you, it's like, it's kind of like whatever. It kind of is Ogre's job to die like that, almost. Ooh, Cloak of Flames. Yeah, I'd put Cloak of Flames on you or the Omni Knight. Some inventory management. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about the inventory management stuff. Just playing the game, you'll improve on that. I'd probably walk out there. In this case, you are now here to help and fight. But it wasn't really urgent. She didn't have to jump in front of their tier 3s. Roshan is a good objective for you guys. So I would try to keep wards in this area around now. You've got one... Yeah, you've got one ward and a couple sentries. So if possible, I might ask your team, hey guys, can we push into this area? And then I would drop a lot of sentries to check as much as I can. So maybe if you have someone who can check high ground for you, you can put the sentry like down here a bit so you can check this area plus this high ground. Otherwise, it's okay to just put the sentry on the high ground. And then I would put another sentry like up here to check if they have, because it's very common to have a ward in this area. Put a second sentry here to check it. And then I would put your observer a little, like in a bit of a weird spot, either in this corner here or like up here in the camp. And that way you have good vision for Roshan. And then if you either see a bunch of them in the bottom or like mid, maybe you can just do Roshan. But if you can get a kill first, then that's definitely better. Oh, and then one more sentry out by the pit in case Ricky is like in the area. But to me, that's like your next big objective. Prioritize the Juggernaut on the Bloodlust. Looks like it's going pretty well for you guys. You guys might win without even doing Roshan, actually. Yeah, right now, I'd Bloodlust. Make sure you Bloodlust the Juggernaut. Get him! The Juggernaut! The Juggernaut! Give it to him! Or the catapult. The catapult's funny. The Juggernaut! The Juggernaut! Bloodlust him! No! Jug, how could you do that? The Quap needed that. But yeah, the classic appeal of Ogre is to just cast Bloodlust on the carry. So it's also a fairly cheap spell relative to your other ones. And then once you get like any kind of mana regen, you're good to go. So even when you're just like walking through the jungle and you pass your carry, go ahead and use it on them. Because it really does, it helps them a ton. They move faster, they attack faster. And that way they get to... They farm a lot better because they kill the camps faster and then they walk between camps faster. What a nice enemy team. They gave the courier. Oh, come on. You gotta... The drow tried to help you too. You gotta tip the drow. Alright, looks like you should just wrap up this game here. Oh, good. Okay, so... things for you to work on while we watch the end of this. 1, the spell usage in lane. It varies by hero, but if you plan on playing like Ogre a little bit, then try to just use plain old right clicks first. And once you get on top of the people, then you can use the slow. That just gets you more value out of your stuff. Because your mana pool is so slow, but your right clicks are really solid. So you walk up to them, you start right clicking, and if it looks like you can keep right clicking and get a good trade in, go ahead and cast the Ignite and then chase them and keep right clicking. For example, if you run into someone in the jungle, then it's great. Like cast Ignite, chase them, hit them. If you walk to them and it's in the middle of the creep wave, that is a situation where it's like, maybe I won't ignite here. Because one, your ignite will hit all the creeps. But two, if you try to keep right-clicking them in the creep wave, that the creeps are all going to hit you, and then that becomes not a good trade for you. So you want to catch them at like the outskirts of the creeps, where they get a little scared, and now if you right-click traded them, you don't aggro like the entire creep wave to you. Ogre generally wins a lot of right-click trades. If it's just hero and hero, like Ogre versus Mars, I'd be fine with that, honestly. Ogre versus Wind Ranger, I'd be okay with that as well, because Ogre just has a lot of armor, has solid attack damage, and good regen. So it's like fine to get in right-click trades, and then the slow helps you then win further. So you just want to make sure you're like in a situation where it's a good trade, which is kind of advanced. I wouldn't sweat it too much. The general rule I want you to remember for now is just try to get on top of them first before casting Ignite, and not just like throw out the spell. And then what else? Oh, in terms of being poor, one, try not to TP out all the time. You did walk a couple times, so that part's good. But yeah, a little more. Like, there were still a couple teleports that you didn't need to use and you could just walk. So that's great. And then if your cores are doing something else and you see a lane open, that's where getting a couple last hits can boost your net worth up. Like, even if it's only 5, then that puts you like a good 200 up. Well, not quite. It's more like 150-ish. But that's still, like, that's a sizable amount. At your 10-minute mark, that's like a fourth of your net worth almost, Stacking, also good. Doing pulls. You did like 1 or 2 pulls, but then you kind of just let the camp be blocked for a while. So if you went to go check to like do more pulls, then you'd get a bit more net worth there too. What else? Yeah, he did a couple stacks. Honestly, it's those 2 things I would focus on first. I don't want to overload you with a bunch of different things. I thought your itemization was fine that game. Maybe a 4-staff instead of the Aether Lens because you're against a Ricky, but if Ricky's not there, then your items were fine, like the Tranquils and the Aether, all good. I would really just focus on the spell usage in lane to like begin it all. I think that's the best to get going. Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone else got questions? What just got said? Ignores Ignite completely. Honestly, I could see that working too, Mornay. But I feel like Jimin's, who we just watched, is fairly new to the game, so I don't want to like harp too much on like this is the optimal skill build, kind of deal. I think Ignite is a lot easier to use than trying to min max with like Bloodlust and Stun. And if you don't have a good carry to make use of Bloodlust, then it's not so great. So I think the Ignite is pretty useful, especially if you're new to the game. It's like easy to apply. When you get next to them, you use Ignite, and then you hit them. You can also max Stun if you want. Actually, what was your skill build? I wasn't paying attention to that part too much. 1 point Ignite, 2 Stun, Bloodlust. Okay, yeah, I think this is fine. I think the skill build's good. What'd you pick? Cast range, damage. I think the game was ending, right? So I think the damage is fine. What were you doing? What's the other one? Yeah, if you need health, you can get health. If you don't need it, you can get the damage. Hey, Mr. Jesterly, thank you for the follow. All right. Jimmins, if you don't have any other questions, and I think we're good on that replay. Honestly, not bad for being so new to the game. No problem. And, yeah, I think a lot of it was, like, very understandable for, like, beginner's mistakes kind of things. And yeah, there were some times where it's like, okay, I'm kind of not doing anything right now. But, like, when you're new to the game, it happens a lot. And I think as you just play more, even if I didn't say anything, I think just playing more, you would improve on all that anyways. Okay. I'm going to end the recording here then.